Andy Farrell and the British and Irish Lions have just announced their 23-man side to take on the Western Force in the season opener for their Australia tour this weekend. Now, this channel is all about covering the Springboks, but I will make an exception, and that is for the British and Irish Lions. It happens once every 4 years. I find it very, very interesting. So if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, leave this video a like, and as always, drop your opinions down in the comments. Let's get in to this side. So if we do a little overview of the team really quickly, Andy Farrell has made 13 changes to the team that took on and lost to Argentina last week. Dan Sheenan captains the side, which means that they've rested Maro Itoje. Finn Russell goes into that fly half position. 5 Lion debutants in the starting 15. That is Gary Ringrose, James Lowe, Joe McCarthy, Josh van der Fleer, and Sheenan, who Dan Sheenan's making his debut and captaining. And then more debuts off of the bench are Ollie Chesham, Hugh Jones, Andrew Porter, and Will Stewart. They've gone for a traditional 5-3 bench split, and that is basically the overview. Now I want to dive into every single position, speak a little bit about the forwards, the backs, maybe what strategy they're going to put into place to try and beat this Western Force side, who have quite a few Wallabies in their side. And I mean, the Lions are desperate for a win after that loss to Argentina. The Lions weren't at their best, and I think a lot of people thought going into that game that the Lions should be beating Argentina, but I mean, hindsight is 2020. Argentina are the 5th ranked team in the world. They've beaten the Springboks, New Zealand, France, Australia, now the British and Irish Lions in the last 12 months. And to expect guys from 4 different countries to sort of get together and make it click and make it happen in week 1 is a little bit unrealistic. So I think we can give them a little bit of leeway against Argentina, but now they need to start performing, especially against these clubs, Western Force, Reds, so on and so forth. So into the forwards. And it's a very, very packed front row in Pierre Schoeman, number 1, who is South African. I just want to put that out there. He is South African, plays for Scotland, made his debut for the Lions last week. And to be honest, was pretty decent off of the bench. Then we got Dan Sheenan, who's been absolutely phenomenal for Ireland and Leinster over the past couple of years. Then you got Tadhg Furlong, who's maybe a bit of an older character, has been there, done that, and maybe brings a little bit of experience to that front row. But a very solid, versatile, big ball carrying front row that need to perform, need to get them on the front foot, win some scrum penalties, dominating the line out and set pieces, and really try and get the Lions some momentum moving into this tour. One thing I didn't touch on is that they were in Europe last weekend and now they're playing in Australia, which is a massive time difference. So it's going to be interesting to see if they've acclimatized, how they balance that. We're just going to have to wait and see. Into the locks, we've got Scott Cummins and Joe McCarthy. Now, these are big, rangy ball carriers, will be very, very good in the lineouts. You obviously don't have your Maro Itoje there, who, to be honest, didn't have a great game last week, if we're being honest. And I think these 2 guys need to try and put their hands up and step up and try and make that 4-5 jersey their own for the rest of the tour. I know there will be some rotation, but by the time it comes time to face the Wallabies in those 3 tests, there needs to be a couple of guys who put their hand up, who want a specific jersey, whether it's a 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Then into the loosies, and this is a heavily stacked loose forward trio. 6, Ty Byrne. I mean, we know how good he is. He's been doing it for Ireland for how many years? He was phenomenal for Munster this season. You've got Josh van der Fleer, who's been phenomenal for Leinster, for Ireland. He's very, very good at the breakdowns, and he gives you that attacking prowess. And then you've sort of got the wonder kid that's popped up over the past couple of months in Henry Pollock. Now, didn't have a great game last week. He missed the tackle, which ended up leading to a try. So I'm sure he's going to want to right those wrongs. I think when Henry Pollock is playing at his best, he is confident, he is arrogant, and that's why people love him, because he brings that personality to the game. Now, it is going to be interesting to see him at 8 and not at flank. But I think, what an opportunity for Henry Pollock, 20 years of age, to start for the British and Irish Lions. Yes, it's against the Western Force, and they should get the job done. It is one of those games where if the Lions don't take the Western Force seriously, they could be down a couple of tries within the first sort of 20 minutes or so, and will have to claw their way back. So they need to start hot. They need to put Western Force in their place. Otherwise, it's not going to look good if that game is tight. Then into the back line, we got Thomas Williams at 9 and Finn Russell at 10. Now, Finn Smith played 10 last week. I don't think he did a bad job, but I do think they were missing that cool, calm collectedness of Finn Russell in that 10 jersey. I was quite impressed by Thomas Williams last week, and I think that combination is going to work well for them. It's going to be interesting to see where Alex Mitchell fits in and who is going to be starting those test matches against the Wallabies, but I do like Thomas Williams and Finn Russell, that combination starting. And then they've changed the dominance. Maybe they weren't too dominant last week, but it was every single headline. Bundiaki and Sione Tupolatu in that 12 and 13 jersey. And to be honest, it's probably one of the best center combinations we've ever seen on a rugby field. Did they perform to the expectations that everyone had them at? Probably not, but it is going to be difficult to meet everyone's expectations when you've got two massive names like that in a center pairing. What is interesting is that they've moved Sione Tupolatu to the 12 jersey and brought Gary Ringrose in the 13 jersey. So we're going to see that Scottish-Irish partnership in the midfield. We know how good Gary Ringrose has been for Leinster, for Ireland. I do like the fact that they've gone for Finn Russell and Sione Tupolatu at 10 and 12, two Scottish players that have connected time and time again for their country, and I think that's going to bring a little bit more connectedness to the back line. Then our back three, James Lowe, Elliot Daly, and Mac Hansen. Again, I like that they've gone for Gary Ringrose at 13, and then the two wings are also Irish. And then Elliot Daly, being the only Englishman in the back line, is going to be interesting. I mean, he's a Saracens man, and I think he's going to have a good day. I think Western Force are going to put quite a lot of balls up there. They're going to test them. They're going to try and push them back. They obviously will play some running rugby, but Elliot Daly, I think, is going to have a good game. And it's going to be interesting to see how the partnership of those back three work with James Lowe, Elliot Daly, and Mac Hansen. Obviously, James Lowe and Mac Hansen know each other a lot better than what Elliot Daly knows them. And I like I said, I like the fact that there's three Irishmen from 13 to 15 or 11 to 15 with Gary Ringrose and the two wingers. Then onto the bench, and like I said, they've gone for a 5-3 bench split, so no 6-2, no 7-1, and they've gone for Ronan Kelleher, Andrew Porter, and Will Stewart. So I mean, I want to see Andrew Porter. He's one of my favorite props in world rugby. I like his look, I like the way he scrums, I like the way he holds himself on the field, and you could see how much those scrum penalties meant to him in the final against the Bulls when Leinster ended up beating the Bulls in that final. Then Ollie Chesham and Jack Conan. Ollie Chesham will either fill in on the flanks or in at lock. Jack Conan probably in at 8, maybe flank. Probably going to replace Henry Pollock depending on the game that Henry Pollock has. And then the three backs to finish it off: Alex Mitchell, replacement scrum off; Hugh Jones, replacement center. Whether he's going to go on outside center or inside center, I would assume he's going to move to outside center and partner with Sione Tupolatu. And then Marcus Smith, he's listed here as a utility back, but he could come on 10, he could come on at 15. I would expect him to come on at 10 just so they can trial that a bit, give Elliot Daly some time, and also check that Marcus Smith can fit into 10 with Thomas Williams at 9, with the center pairings not being English guys. So it's very, very interesting. I love these smaller test matches that the British and Irish Lions have against the likes of a Western Force or a Reds, to really see the combinations and how these guys connect with each other. I think the Lions should be winning this quite comfortably, but it is one of those games where if they don't pitch up, the Western Force can definitely put some pressure on them. As always, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Leave this video a like, smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.